2017 Silver and Gold Summit, San Francisco, California. William Sheriff or Bill to my right, Golden Predator, quite a story. So Bill, let's start off. Where's it located and what's going on with Golden Predator?
Thanks, David. It's in southeast Yukon, and we've been working at it about 12 months in the field, about a year and a half calendar-wise, but due to the we've taken a couple of months off last winter, and then we took off a month during breakup. But started out as essentially a prospect with a couple of dozen drill holes on it. We've since enlarged it to a 357 square kilometer property. Put a bridge in, put 26 kilometers of roads in, about 300 drill holes, all within essentially 12 months on the field. So it's been hectic and a very aggressive program, but we've come out with some pretty stellar drill results. Established that there is a district present in terms of similar geology, geochemistry, structure, and extending over 35 kilometers along strike. We've completed just this year over 10,000 soil samples since we've been there, and identified mineralization, at least soil anomalies, all along the 35 kilometers with, of course, major concentrations in about 6 areas. The largest being the central core area, which is what we've been concentrating on and doing all of our drilling on so far.
And so give us some grades on that prime area.
Well, I think probably the best, most recent headline grade I remember was 8 meters of 50 grams. But we've had a number of them that are in excess of 10 meters, in excess of 20 grams. So, it's a high-grade orogenic style, very good metallurgy. We're getting over 90% gravity recovery when we employ a Falcon concentrator on the end. So, no chemicals. It's basically just crushing and then gravity settling. It's very simple. Quartz, native gold, and a bit of arsenopyrite.
So very clean, easy to crush, and away you go.
It is. In fact, we poured our first bulk sample. We took our first bulk sample a little over a year ago. We should report our reconciliation of that here in the next week or so. We're waiting on getting our final settlement on the cons. We sent in some sulfide cons that we should get paid on this week. Then we'll be able to balance the entire thing out. But so far, we're looking at right at about an ounce per ton recovery just in the doré bars that we poured.
Awesome. Well, let's talk a little bit on the share structure side. So shares outstanding, warrants, what's the treasury look like?
About 94 million shares outstanding. We've got about 35 million warrants, all of which come due between now and June. So within 6 months, the warrant tally will be down to 0. Of those warrants, about $4 million worth are 21 cents, and those come in March and April. A few of them at 15 cents. Then the rest of them are at $1. Most of the warrants are held by a handful of the insiders that are the large shareholders, and I guess that's certainly worth talking about a little bit as well.
Yeah,
Eric Sprott's our second biggest shareholder. I'm the largest shareholder, and then Eric is second. Rob McEwen with McEwen Mining is third, and Pat DiCapo is in there, fourth largest shareholder, and we have a lot of other institutional support. So it's to this point has not been much of a retail story. It's been primarily institutional.
Okay, good. So,
and we have $5 million in the bank.
$5 million in the bank. What's your burn rate?
Well, right now that we're kind of in the winter hiatus, it's fairly
0.
Reasonable. It's still we've still got a staff and we've still got a plan for the future and all that. But we're under 200 grand a month now. But, once we get going, we'll spend $10 or $11 million next year.
Okay.
And we're just about completely funded with the warrants that come in, but you never want to burn that treasury to 0. So pretty clearly, sometime in the next 6 to 9 months, we'll be looking for an opportunity to raise $5 or $6 million.
Well, with you being the largest shareholder, and no offense, but I know you're younger than me, but you're not exactly school age. What's your exit strategy? I mean, with 35 kilometers, if it were me, I know what my exit strategy would be, but I'm not major shareholder.
Right. Well, maybe you can give me some pointers on that. I'm always open to new advice, but it seems pretty clear as long as we continue to develop the veins that we have. This year we actually made about 15 new occurrences of quartz veins, but we actually reduced the number of veins because now the points are starting to line up, and we're actually finding out that they're all on more continuous single structures. So that's a good thing. But I think if we have another year like this and are able to really go and prove up the continuity of a couple of main structures we've got that run for right now 1.8 to 2.6 kilometers in strike. And we've got evidence to suggest they're mineralized at least a kilometer down dip. So if we can put that together, I think we won't be independent all that long.
Yeah.
You know, the majors are having such a hard time replacing their oil reserves that you know, when they see a quality project come along with, you know, maybe not spectacular but very high grade numbers.
Yeah.
What would have been spectacular before Pretium.
Yeah.
You know, if we get those sort of numbers, it won't be long until a major comes along, assuming that we can prove up that continuity, which certainly looks good at this point.
So educate me and our viewers further. So being in the Yukon and you do have to shut down, is that true for even a major if they decide to go full bore on this?
No, and I guess I'd like to clear that up. We don't have to shut down. Last year we operated through December 15th, and then we came back in early February. We choose to shut down, and it's not for the winter so much. It's cold and it's miserable, but you can work with it. You know, there are parts of Canada where they wait until it's that miserable to go work for a freeze up of lakes and whatnot. But not much wind, not a lot of snow. This year we shut down because we're moving a modular camp onto site. And we also got a very unusual, very heavy early snow that turned into ice and made it just a bit more difficult logistically. So that with the camp coming in, we did shut down a little early this year. But you know, we've been in the Yukon on various projects, including Brewery Creek, which we still own with almost 1 million ounces of oxide. I think it's 853,000 ounces. But you know, we've worked year-round every year we've been there, and we're among the few that do. The real key is having a road accessible project, because it's so difficult to fly, and you can be grounded safety-wise from flying for days on end. So it's not much fun, but it can be done year-round, and we just find it to be difficult to maintain troop morale in January when it's dark and cold.
Sure. Well, let's switch hats a little bit. I'm going to put you on the hot seat. So you've been in this industry a while. You've been through the ups and downs. So where do you see gold going, silver going over the next, let's say, 5 years?
Interesting. You know, I view it a little bit differently. I don't view it as a commodity. I view it as a currency. And in fact, a lot of people ask me what the price of gold is, and I say I don't really think it has a price. I think it has an exchange rate. So what currency are we talking with regards to? And you know, with the worldwide urgency to debase currencies that we've seen from just about every country, I think gold's a great place to be. Now, as to how high it gets, you know, I actually don't have a metric by which I could suggest that. Obviously, the government's going to do everything they can to keep their currencies high, while at the same time cutting them to get a better piece of the smaller pie. So it's a bit of a two-headed monster there. But I think you know, I just view it as it's in a very favorable situation for gold, and it could get out of hand and get to see some prices that we you know, haven't. We'll find it difficult to believe.
Right.
You know, I think back to the 70s when Templeton was saying that the Dow would go to 3,000.
Yeah.
Everybody thought he was nuts.
Yeah, absolutely.
A complete crackpot. We
Yeah.
just barely hit 1,000 5 times.
Right.
Finally broke through and blew through 3,000 like it wasn't even there.
Right.
So when you hear people say 3,000 on gold or 5,000 on gold or pick a number, you know, you could very easily see the same situation. It's just a matter of how much paper money's chasing it.
Exactly. Now, well said. So I want to give you a public accolade on, you know, being instrumental in Gold Rush 21. That was one of the best events I ever went to, and I know your wife was heavily involved with doing that. And really, it brought, well, there's a lot of stories I can give you around that, but really it was one of the best events. And I've been to several, as you well know, worldwide. But being there in Dawson City, the event couldn't have been better handled as far as I'm concerned. And also just meeting, like, you know, the Russian contingency. I mean, they take gold much more seriously than anybody in the United States does.
Most people do.
And most people
In the
do.
US, yeah.
And so, you know, it's one of, you know, today's the shout out, you know, terminology. So I'll shout out to you, Bill, but I do thank you for that. In fact, I will give a quick story. So at that event, Mike Maloney and I were already friends. He'd been to the Silver Summit several times and spoken at the Silver Summit, which is this event. It's now the Silver and Gold Summit. And Mike said, hey, I'd like to have breakfast with you. And I said, absolutely. So sat down there in the Yukon and had breakfast. And Mike said, I want to build a bullion business. I want to serve others. I think that everyone needs gold and silver. And what do you think? And I said, well, that kind of business actually bores me. I just don't want to be on the phone like, hey, here's your roll of, you know, Eagles. I'm shipping them out, and here's your tracking number and all that. And of course, Mike might have done it in the very beginning. I don't know. The point being is that as we were flying back, I was sitting next to John Embry, and John's first question to me was, are we two crackpots? Are we the only ones that think like this? Because we know the Russians were thinking the same way, and a lot because of your event. But we just had a great talk. So Mike was writing a letter on that airplane trip to Robert Kiyosaki. And this was brilliant in my view because he's getting a whole new group of investors, which were real estate investors, to go from a real estate that was at a high to move into a bullion investment that was at a low. And shout out to Mike Maloney. So that's just one of the many stories I have. But again, keep up the great work.
And I'll pass on the accolades to Janet, our CEO.
Yeah.
She's certainly done a lot for the Yukon and a lot for our company, as well as for the group.
Well, let me put it back to you just in case I missed something. Is there anything we can talk about at Golden Predator that we need to
Well, I think it's going to be an exciting year. This year we will probably spend, like I say, 10 to 11 million. We hope to have the property in a position to determine if it's going to be head towards the open pit geometry as opposed to the high-grade underground, or perhaps both. Simple fact of the matter is we've got just a huge anomaly with gold over 13 square kilometers. We've drilled various concentrations of gold that are kilometers apart from one another. We've done some infill drilling this year trying to bring those together, and with a bit more of that next year, I hope to have something considerably more advanced to talk to you next year about.
Great. Bill, it's always a pleasure.
Thank you, Dave.
Hello, I'm David Morgan, publisher of the Morgan Report, and as some of you may already know, the Morgan Report is about money, metals, and mining. In fact, we cover all resources from rare earth elements to precious metals. I've been publishing on the internet for about 20 years. My primary passion is to help people build and preserve their wealth. I love to make people millionaires. I've helped thousands of people via our research in the Morgan Report, which has thousands of paid members and 10 times that amount on our free weekly updates. Here's what you'll receive from our free newsletter: to-the-point webinars, weekly analysis of the financial markets, interviews and our conference schedule, special reports such as riches and resources, and various metals price forecasts. Our paid service client base is primarily small to medium-sized business owners, professionals in the industry, or the seasoned investor who understands markets and the value of precious metals. My area of expertise includes equity analysis throughout the resource sector, energy metals, base metals. We cover startups to billion-dollar corporations. We focus on a special sector that makes money regardless of price oscillations, and the importance of precious metals due to the ongoing currency devaluations. Our team of 3 analysts and support staff can help you build and protect your wealth. It's important for you to know what other people have said. We're passionate about what we do. High integrity and trust. Tell the truth and own it. If we're wrong, we admit it. Take a long-term outlook with major assets, and bet a little to win a lot with speculative situations. If you choose to become a client, you will gain financial insights very few, even professionals, recognize. You'll understand the importance of honesty in our financial system. You'll understand how the money system influences almost everything in your life. You'll be prepared for the ongoing currency crisis. And finally, I've chosen to make my life's mission greater than the individual, which means my mission statement is to teach and empower people to understand the benefits of an honest monetary and financial system. It's been a great journey so far, and the best gains in this sector lie ahead over the next 3 to 5 years. I'm fortunate to have earned the status of being a leading authority in my field in helping others protect their wealth. You can email me at support@themorganreport.com or call my office at 480-325-0230.